And then I discovered that memory is locational. You cannot bring up a memory of anything without first being conscious of its location. All memory is locational. Now let's take that and find the corollary. Place making is therefore memory making. Location making is memory making. That completely puts a different spin on the urban work we do. And it's keyed into the human brain to such a degree that we go to all these places to visit real places and have real memories in them that we can share with other people, because we come from modernist environments where there's no there. What we really understand today is that the number of beautiful places to visit today is a constant, and the world's population has grown by 4 in the last, 40 years. Well, we need 4 times as many special places out there. So there's a huge amount of work for the people in this room just making new special places and reducing the load on the existing ones, the destructive tourist load. And then I discovered that hands are half the brain. This is a huge revelation when the entire culture in the last 200 years has been about taking stuff out of people's hands and putting the labor on machinery of some sort, and the profits, taking it away from people to the people who own the machines. We are Homo faber, a species of makers. And the guys schlepping those bricks they're using their brains more than nuclear scientists at CERN. You know, the scientists are using this much, and those guys are working with their hands, even if all they're doing is moving bricks around. And then, of course, you have the work that's built by hand. This is a huge social, political, economic issue. It could save the world if we actually formulated it in a way that was positive for all society. So the values that are unique to classic planning emerge from all these things. They are that architecture is central to urbanism, that we are genuinely holistic. This business of balancing town and country for homeostasis is of the essence. We have been building, in common planning parlance, we've been building these garden cities, one next to the other, without the countryside that's supposed to be between them. And so that's what sprawl is. So we need to figure that one out. And then the crafts are essential. Getting to the mobility part, everything that's not attached to the ground somehow, mobile, is somehow processed by the brain as being animal, whether it's furniture, and that's why furniture has legs, and cars, which are processed as large animals, so that neuroception forces us into different town and country experiences in planning. So we need codes, different codes for those too. It shifts the AV program completely. We need to redesign streets not for safety, but for intuitive driving and occupation of the street and stress reduction. And a safe street is where children can play. So classic planning is about applied science. It's wielding authenticity and beauty for durability and adaptive reuse. And I want to tell you briefly, I wanted to share with you just a little bit about the Classic Planning Institute and then show you some of the work we've been doing. The Institute, because we are operating in a holistic environment, the Institute itself has to be built holistically. And this is very different from all the other institutions, academic, professional, networking, and so on and so forth that we have in our area. We are completely inclusive, open to all the other organizations as being part of the dialogue. We try to, in our STOA, we try to bring to the audience, the full community. In our academy, we teach architectural literacy. Studio does its work. We have a library project, which we have started, but it's going slow. And then in the laboratory, we've been very busy doing all this neuro stuff. So if you look at us as a building, you'll see the STOA in the middle, and the surrounded by the rest of the parts of it. But we insist on having multiple divisions holistically. You know, you measure one, you're measuring them all, and so on and so forth. We observe. And this is of the essence, and we're the only place that actually teaches this, except for the Institute of Classical Architecture and Art right now, that architectural literacy is the lingua franca of the built environment. It's basically like notation in music. Those of you who know how to read this stuff, look at this and immediately hear the music. And those of you who don't, see it as complex and what the hell is all this stuff? It turns out that it's based on a small number of simple rules. There are no 256 patterns of anything in the universe. There may be 3 or 4, and then they seem to recur in different ways based on certain arrangements of relationships. But everything has 3 parts, and you notice that this idea of top, middle, bottom, it's not 3 equal parts, left, middle, right. They're not equal. They come with information and really significantly important information. They are holistic. Everything comes in 3 sizes, small, medium, large. Your perception, your thinking depends on scale. If you see a kitten over here, you're going to relate to it very different from the elephant over here. And there are only 3 ways to connect rooms. Isn't that interesting? And you get this. That's easy. I mean, you know the simplicity of the diagram and the exquisiteness of the actual execution. And by the way, who here has visited this building? Palladio's Villa Rotonda, one of the best built buildings anywhere, anytime. Check out the stucco. And you can see the bricks. The columns are made out of bricks, and they're stuccoed over. You can see the shadow of the bricks through the stucco if you look carefully. But basically, the architectural literacy has these kind of threesomes. It's got the bits, the moldings, the orders, the columns and tablature, doors and windows, and then bringing stuff together, proportions, sizing, placement, appropriateness, and then design by deletion. As you well know, we can simplify things if we need to, however we need to, however we want to. And the neuroscience part uniquely validates this approach. In other words, classic planning is simply a documentation of what works.